string together some outings, string together some years, hopefully, as a Padre, because he's got the stuff. The 1.29 ERA, 2.34 opponent's batting average. Why? Because his off-speed stuff. He's freezing him with the fastball. He's locating the fastball. Just when they're looking there, he's got the slider. He's got a changeup. Hopefully, good numbers tonight in Colorado.
Who knew a little simple roller through the right side of the infield last night would be the talking subject in the clubhouse of the Padres? Odísimor Despaign's miracle hit and the rewards that are going to follow. Oh my, Chris Brudden with that story.
Welcome back to Coors Field. It is game 2 between the Padres and the Rockies. And in a game where 14 runs were scored by the Padres here last night, what everyone was talking about was a single by Odísimor Despaigne. The clubhouse just electric when he hit that yesterday. Caught up with him afterwards with the help of Jose Valentin, and he was all smiles. How did it feel to get the first hit?
¿Cómo te sentiste después de conectar el primer hit?
Muy bien, sobre todo que los muchachos me tienen que pagar con compra que me prometieron por dar mi primer hit.
He said that it feels good, but even happier because he got a bet with the pictures. You know, they said that if he gets the first hit here, I guess they're going to take him shopping and buy some stuff, whatever he wants. So, you know, it make it even happier today.
Are we going to do clothes like Despaigne wears or clothes like Cashner wears?
¿Cómo se ve la ropa, el estilo de ropa? ¿La que tú usas o como la que usa Cashner?
No, la que uso yo.
No, that's his style.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him in some cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. But coming up, Matt Kemp clocking in here in Coors. 4 RBIs last night. He loves to hit here in Coors. We'll see some more tonight. We got first pitch coming up on Fox Sports San Diego.
Last night, the Padres caught a fever that spread rapidly. Even those typically immune to the batting disease showed symptoms. The diagnosis, researchers have determined it's a new virus form of the San Diego Padres, ready to make opposing pitchers ill. Padres at Rockies, Game 2 coming up. And away we go, hopefully on a healthy first step, as the Padres try to continue their winning ways on the road for Bud Black. They've won 3 consecutive series. They took 2 out of 3 from Chicago and off with a win last night, 14-3. Here's the Padres lineup, brought to you by Toyota. Exactly the same as last night, with the exception of the pitcher Brandon Morrow, Myers, Norris, Kemp and Upton in the middle of the lineup. Will Middlebrooks had a 2-run triple last night. Jed Jerko a double, drove in a run as well. Yonder Alonso quietly hitting .364, 9th best in the National League. Clint Barmas, former Rocky, will bat 8th, and then Brandon Morrow against Tyler Matzik.
Yeah, good feeling in that Padre dugout, but as I mentioned in our open, that, yesterday is over with. Good, bad, indifferent. This team knows how to forget about what happened in the past. And they've got another tough left-hander. De La Rosa last night, that was a wake-up call for the Rockies and other teams in the National League and the American League, that this Padre team, they're going to hack. They're going to put together good at-bats.
Kemp has always hit well here at Coors Field and against left-handed pitching, batting .583 this year as the Rockies take the field. How about the scouting report on Tyler Matzik, Mark?
Well, he's a good one. He's 24 years old, and one thing for sure, he's a bulldog out there. He throws the fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup, mostly fastball and slider. And that slider down to the righties, down by the back foot. We've seen a lot of that. But you take a look at the at-bats of these Padres this year. They're laying off that low stuff. If they can get him up, hopefully go to hacking like they did last night.
Almost a local lad is Matzik. He was born in Mission Viejo and grew up in that area. He was the #1 draft pick of these Rockies 6 years ago, the 11th overall selected. And a look at the Rockies defense behind him. Blackman in left, Stubbs in center, and Gonzalez the right fielder. Yanoa as Nolan Arenado with that bad wrist is out of the lineup again tonight. Tulowitzki and LeMahieu, all-star double play combination for the Rockies. Justin Morneau won the batting title last year, and Nick Hundley, former Padre, behind the plate for Matzik. Yanoa, last night, this switch-hitting infielder had a base hit and a walk, 1 for 3. Also out of the lineup tonight is Corey Dickerson. He has plantar fasciitis. That doesn't sound good at all, does it? And here's Arenado and Dickerson, who lead Colorado in RBIs, each with 10, both out of the lineup tonight.
Yeah, some big shoes to fill for Walt Weiss, and see if Yanoa can do it. We know what Troy Tulowitzki can do. But you know what? The Rockies know what the Padre hitters can do, and it was evident last night. 17-hit attack. And believe me, Tyler Matzik was either in the clubhouse, in the video room, on the bench. He's got his work cut out for him tonight.
Well, Matzik last year, his rookie season, was 1-3 against the Padres, but the one was a terrific outing. Here at Coors, he threw a 3-hit complete game shutout. Only the 12th time in Denver history that a Rocky pitcher has been able to go the distance and shut out the opposition. So we're set to go. They say Matzik has an improved changeup this year that should make him even tougher. It's his 3rd outing, and Will Myers will lead it off. Batting .283, 13 runs, most by any leadoff hitter in baseball. And the first pitch of the game is outside at 91 miles an hour. Glad you joined us here from Coors Field. Some heavy clouds around, the usual fare weather-wise here in Denver that we're not expected to be bothered by. Ball 2, 2-0. Padres have been outstanding in the first inning. They lead the major leagues with 16 runs and 23 hits in the first inning. And Myers, of course, part of that. Takes a strike. That might have been the changeup.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on the off-speed stuff. Kind of fooled Will Myers right there. On the fastball, he'll hit 94. Matzik will.
Works quickly, and the count runs to 3-1. There's the curveball.
There's that, yeah. Down by the back foot. of the right-handed hitters. His MO, Matzek that is, to swing over the top of it.
Time goal by Myers. Matzek working very quickly.
I like that, huh?
Good size. He's 6'3" and 230, just 24 years of age. Outside, and for only the second time all season, Will Myers draws a walk. Padres have the leadoff man aboard for catcher Derek Norris. Norris with 3 hits last night, just ripping up left-handed pitching, #1 in the major leagues, 9 for 14 against southpaws. Two doubles and a single last evening against lefties, and he takes low, ball 1.
I'd like to keep an eye on that tonight. That's another breaking ball taken for a ball. Alonzo Powell, the hitting coach, along with Mark Kotze, said these guys have been doing a great job of laying off of those pitches.
Way outside and high, 2-0, and Matzek a little wobbly off the start. Walking Myers and falling behind Norris 2-0, and we'll take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your Honda dealers of San Diego County. Mark?
Well, #1, more silver bullets, and why not, right? They were hot last night, 14 runs, 17 hit attack, silver bullets off of De La Rosa, and completely different lineup. Dick, you just mentioned it. Remember the complete game that Tyler Matzek threw against the Padres? Well, Tyler, completely different lineup you're facing tonight. Going to be a different story.
Is that for certain? You really can't even relate to last year's statistics. This is just a different team. 2-0. Three and 1 on the road trip for the Padres. They were only 2-7 here at Coors last year. Picked up a win. First confrontation with Colorado last night. Way outside and high. 3-0. That home plate jumping on Matzek.
I wonder if Matzek's being a little apprehensive with trying to just be aggressive and throw the ball to the heart of the plate, or split that plate in thirds and throw the ball over the plate to this Padre lineup. You can see by our Honda Fox tracks, not even close.
That's a strike. 92 laid the fastball in there. 3-1.
Pitch #1 was somewhere down near Colorado Springs. The next two up near like Fort Collins.
That one here in Lodo, the
yeah.
lower district, downtown. Might have gone after ball 4. No, that was a good pitch. High outside corner, and the count is full to Derek Norris.
Matzek's pretty heavy with the 4-seam fastball, and out of the hand here, if you could pick up the rotation. Yep, 4-seam fastball up and away. He can be sneaky fast at times.
Runner goes, and it's strike 3, and a strikeout, throw him out. Nice throw by Nick Hundley to nail Myers. Running a little run and hit there, and might have gotten a call, Matzek.
Yeah, I think he did. Ball off the plate. Throw to the shortstop side of second base. And Will sliding the correct way towards the outside part of the bag there. And Derek Norris didn't like it. He's got reason not to like it. But, you know, he's in a tough position as a catcher. You want that call for your pitchers, right?
So instead of having 2 men on and no one out, bases empty and 2 gone. Well, that's a big single call made by Chad Fairchild, the plate umpire. So here's Matt Kemp. The base is clean. High fly ball, left center field. Playable. And back is Blackman to the edge of the warning track to make the catch. Brandon Morrow goes to work, and Charlie Blackman will lead it off for Colorado. pitch, strike 3. He's got a couple of victims on that changeup. That ERA of 1.29, fifth best in the National League, is Brandon Morrow seeking his first win. We're at Coors Field in the Mile High City. And a look at the Colorado lineup brought to you by Hyundai. Blackman leads it off, but Tulowitzki moves up to the second spot in front of Carlos Gonzalez. Justin Morneau fits into the cleanup fourth spot. Nick Hundley hitting fifth. DJ LeMahieu, the second best batting average in the National League, is sixth. Then Drew Stubbs in center. Tyler Matzik, the pitcher, hitting eighth. And then Rafael Inoa. Matzik last night didn't hit, but for a moment looked as if he was going to pinch hit. So Walt Weiss, the manager, feels that he swings a good enough bat. He'll fit him in the eighth spot in the order. First pitch to Charlie Blackmon is a strike. 28-year-old, played his college ball at Georgia Tech. Had a terrific season last year, especially the first half. Finished with 19 homers on the year. Made the All-Star team. Strike 2. 93 on the fastball.
Such a good story for Brandon Morrow. We can get into that, but it's a kid you want to root for. You know, he's not really having the chance to put a couple, 2-3 years together consistently.
Pulled to the right side, a big hop for Jerko for the first down.
You want to know more about the right-hander Brandon Morrow? Well, he's locating very well. It's evident in the first couple pitches he has thrown. And he expands the zone with the off-speed. We talked about tonight the changeup. Talked about the other off-speed pitches, curveball, slider. He's got a pretty good idea out there what he's doing.
Troy Tulowitzki, the star shortstop of the Rockies. Now 30 years of age. College ball, two-time All-America at Long Beach State. A .327 average to start this year. A career .299 hitter. Breaking ball doesn't quite come into that inside edge. 1-1. Tulowitzki has gone into a whole new training regimen. He says, suddenly I look up, I'm 30 years of age. I've got to really watch my diet. Grounded to third, back in. Nope, it's off the glove of Middlebrooks and into left field. And there goes Tulowitzki to second base. The throw, no throw by Upton. That one just handcuffed Middlebrooks at third.
Well, we've seen Will Middlebrooks over at third base, making some solid plays over there. This ball, a two-hopper. Tries to play it on the back hop and the backhand, and it gets by him.
Ruled a hit and a double for Tulowitzki. That's his 8th of the year among the major league leaders in two-baggers. Carlos Gonzalez has been struggling of late. 4 for the last 32. Shift on. And in the last 4 games, Cargo 1 hit in 14 at bats. And that accounts for that low .204 average for this All-Star. Chance for Jerko. Charges to get the big second hop, and there's 2 away. Over to third goes Tulowitzki, and here's the Padres defense, brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. Familiar alignment of Upton, Myers, and Kemp in the outfield. Middlebrooks and Barmas on the left side. Jerko and Alonso at second and first. Derek Norris behind the plate for Brandon Morrow, who now looks in. Morrow to Morneau. Justin Morneau, British Columbia. Grew up playing baseball, basketball, and of course, the prerequisite hockey.
Be interesting to see how he pitches Morneau. That run around third and 2 outs. Right-handed hitting catcher Nick Hundley on deck.
They faced each other before, and Morrow went 2 for 4.
Both pitches, 1 and 2, clearly outside by a bunch.
Morneau with the Twins. American League Most Valuable Player in 2006.
He doesn't want any part of him here, huh?
No, this is a pitcher round. Take their chances on Nick Hundley. Although Hundley a couple of base hits last night. It's not an intentional walk, but he didn't throw anything close to a strike either. First walk of the game for Brandon Morrow.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and much, much more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
So here in the Colorado first, runners at the corners. Morneau at first, Tulowitzki at third. Nick Hundley, 6.5 years as a Padre, then to Baltimore last year and now a Rocky. Ball one.
Where'd that miss? I guess down the middle doesn't count tonight.
A high draft pick of the Padres in 2005. Career with San Diego, 238. Pretty good pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shortstop Barmes with a flip to second for the force, and that'll do it for the Rockies. They leave 2 in the first. No score here in Denver. Fox Sports San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Jerome's, where Jerry's price is the lowest price every day. No phony sales, just pure value. And by Petco, what we feed them matters. So that groundbreaking baseball, I thought I was going to refer to the first 5 innings by the Padres last night.
That would be appropriate.
They broke a lot of ground, racking up 14 runs in 5 innings. Coors Field celebrating its 20th season since they first opened the gates. Here's Justin Upton to lead off the Padres second. .327 mark on the season with 3 home runs. Slugging at a .612 pace. Will Middlebrooks and then Chad Jerko to follow. It's an all right-handed hitting lineup for Bud Black against the lefty Matzik, with one exception, Yonder Alonso. Hits left-handers well for a left-handed batter, maybe better than righties. Weak swing and a miss. First strikeout for Matzik.
Time now for the tools of the trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks. And last night, it's everybody contributing. Talking about 7 extra base hits. Now you see the spray chart. See the blue lines? That's the extra base power that the Padres possessed last night. The one red was the home run off the bat of Will Venable going to right center field. But it goes to show you, outfielders playing a little differently here at Coors Field with all the extra base punch. 7 extras last night.
Middlebrook skies that one to right field. And Cargo there to put it away for the second out. 1 pitch, 1 out, and that'll bring up Jed Jerko with 2 outs, bases empty. He is 5 for 10 against left-handed pitching this year. Looking for his first home run. His double last night into the right field corner, going the opposite way. He walked as well. Grounded out twice and struck out.
I think that's the second time tonight that a Padre hitter has requested time with Matzik. You mentioned it, Dick. He works very quickly.
2-0.
He got squeezed on that pitch.
Both of them.
Yep.
Plays that one in there, 2-1. Matzik finished last year 6 wins, 11 losses. Fouled off the catcher, Nick Hundley.
Yeah, the word around Colorado Rocky camp is that this kid's got a chance to be a number 1. Of course, De La Rosa, even though he got knocked around, he's their number 1. But going into this year, only 117 innings at the big league level. He's got a lot of room to grow.
Good protective swing there by Jerko to stay alive. 2-2. Matzik at Coors Field last year was 4-4. And he misses there. Full count. Not afraid to pitch high, Matzik.
Yep, a lot of pitches been up in the zone.
And he walks Jerko, and he was ahead on the count, 0-2.
Saturday, MLB returns starting with an AL Central battle as the Indians take on the Tigers in a game you can see on Fox Sports 1. Then it's the return of the Subway Series as the Yankees take on the Mets. Coverage begins at 9:30 a.m. on America's home for baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Oh, it's great we get to see the Yankees again, huh?
Oh, I know. Can't, they never.
Are they on every national telecast? Clint Barmas follows Yonder Alonso, and Alonso swings and misses. 7th best in the National League on base percentage. 364 is average and 453 on base. Has 8 walks to lead the Padres to go with that good batting average. And Matzik jumps in front 2 strikes. Alonso should hit the ball hard but swing a little late. He has a big hole at third base. Is playing in the shortstop position. Two outs, Jerko at first. Deflected by Matzik and goes right to Tulowitzki for the force. Padres gone in the second, still no score in Colorado.
was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 18 years old, and throughout the years has developed a pretty strict routine on days that he pitches. Every couple of innings, he'll go into the dugout and test his blood sugar levels to make sure nothing spikes and that it doesn't get too low. He usually wears a port on days that he does not pitch, so this is just days where he's starting. And I know, Mark Grant, you've talked to him about this before. He keeps a pretty strict schedule on everything that he eats that day, what goes into his body, what time he eats. It's pretty neat throughout the years just how he's developed and knows his body so well.
Yeah, nice job, Chris. Very nice story there. We appreciate it very much. And, you know, we were in the chow line the other day in Chicago in the clubhouse, and I just happened to run across Brandon. He was talking about, yeah, I could have that. I got to stay away from sauces. That's okay. That's okay. But very diligent and very, he's got to stay on top of it, and it's become routine for him.
TJ LeMahieu, fly ball to right field, chases Kemp back a few steps, and he grabs the first out here in the second inning. Along with the control of his routine, and that's exactly the word he uses. He has to fit into a very strict routine, not take any chances. But beyond that, he's become an inspiration for young people who have been diagnosed with diabetes 1, type 1. And letting them know that it's a shock at first. The family all get what's going to happen now. It's okay. You can control it. Yep. And he's willing to stand out and talk to anyone, help anyone, young people that want to ask him questions. Good on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you see the resume for Brandon Morrow. We're lucky to have him in San Diego.
Drew Stubbs, power hitting outfielder, but 0 for 12 thus far. He has power to the opposite field. We've seen that a few times.
And hitting the ball on the ground, also the infielders have to rush it a little bit because he can fly, Drew Stubbs.
Came up through the Reds organization, then to Cleveland, and acquired from the Indians by the Rocks last year. That is in there. First strikeout for Brandon Morrow.
This looked like a shorter breaking ball. I want to say slider, but then on the other hand, I want to say curveball. It really wasn't one of those ones that goes in hot and then snaps off the table. You know what? I'm going to call that curveball. He gets on top of that and really pulls down, and Drew Stubbs back to the dugout. That's a perfect pitch from Morrow.
The pitcher, Tyler Matzik, batting in the 8th spot. We saw that the entire Cubs series. Joe Madden hitting the pitcher 8th. And now Walt Weiss doing the same. In part imposed by the injury to Nolan Arenado, and he's got the Enoa replacing Arenado. If Arenado was in the lineup, it would be Matzik hitting 9th.
It's the left wrist of Walt Weiss's third baseman. You know, I saw him taking some infield today. I tell you what, no problem with the glove, but with the bat, it seems to be the problem for Arenado because he was going all out during fielding practice today. Arenado was.
And for the Padres to be able to come into this series and not face Arenado, who is such a good all-around player. I mean, he takes hits away and gets more than his share on the offensive end. Hitting .311 with 3 homers, 10 RBIs.
97 on the fastball from Morrow.
2-2 to Matzik. 2 outs here in the second. No score. Watch out. Way back into the lower deck. Well, the forecast today, we got up to 70 degrees in Midtown, and it's supposed to drop down to the mid-30s before games end tonight. Swing and a miss, strike 3. A couple of strikeouts for Brandon Morrow. 1-2-3, the Rockies story in the second. No score.
Definitely can be a little more challenging on the body, you know, especially physically, kind of beating you down. You don't have the time to recover for the with the oxygen, the altitude, and everything that's in play. Everything they've talked about. You definitely feel it, especially as the season goes on. You go on the road for a week, you're home for a week, you never really do get used to it, and so it can be a grind.
Welcome back. Shortstop Clint Barma is talking about playing in the altitude. He spent 7 seasons here in Colorado, still lives here during the off season, and said your body just never becomes acclimated to it, especially with all the traveling. You go on a road series, you get used to that weather, you come back, and then your body has to adjust to the thin air again. And in talking with Mark Sweeney earlier today, who spent a few years here, he said the same thing. The second day for him was always the hardest to recover.
Houston Street last year, and it's even tougher for the pitchers, especially relief pitchers. He said that you could be solid one day, and then if you have to pitch back-to-back days, you just don't have it. You're sore, you don't feel right.
It takes a lot out of it because it's so dry. You have to stay hydrated.
That ball is drilled deep to left field by Barmas, and on cue, he touches them all. He wasn't hurt in the second day in Mile High Country. Not this time. He greets the Rockies and Matzik with his first home run as the Padre. And San Diego claims the early lead.
Well, there are either some Colorado Rocky fans that are huge Clint Barmas fans or some Padre fans in attendance hooting it up, hollering it up as Clint Barmas lays all over that breaking ball. No doubt about that one.
His first home run as a San Diego Padre, and the first hit tonight off Tyler Matzik.
See what happens when you're a pregame guest for an interview. Good things happen.
That's right. That brings up the pitcher, Brandon Morrow. He, like Despagne, is without a major league hit. He is 0 for 18 in his career. But he takes better swings, and he can get the ball out of the cage in batting practice, something that Despagne does only rarely.
There he is.
Taking all the jesting and good fun, and now looking forward to San Francisco and getting that new wardrobe. He goes around, strike 3. Second strikeout for Matzik. That'll bring up the leadoff hitter, Will Myers. Excuse me, that's a third strikeout for Matzik.
You know, we talk about first pitch strikes a lot, Dick. For Matzik, the first time through the line, only 2 first pitch strikes. Laying off some bad pitches, working the count in their favor, these Padre hitters.
He walked Myers to lead off the ball game. Ground ball toward the hole, glove there by Inoa. 2 away. And catcher Derek Norris will step up. Padres leading now 1-0 here in the top of the third. Norris got a 3-2 pitch that he thought was inside, and Fox Tracks confirmed that, but plate umpire Fairchild called it strike 3, and Myers, running on the play, was thrown out at second on a good throw by Nick Hundley. Instead of 2 on, no one out, Padres had 2 outs and no one out. Strike 1. Outfield gives Norris left center in the dirt, 2-1.
Yeah, if he can get a hanging breaking ball from Matzik, he could shoot it right out here. Look at how far they are, leaving that gap open in left center field.
Sales outside, 3 balls and a strike. 40th pitch of the night coming up from the left-hander. Matt Kemp waiting his turn.
A 3-1 little breaking ball, little wrinkle in that 3-1 pitch. 3-1, and Tyler Matzik goes to the shorter breaking ball. Ends up on the inside part of the plate, and Derek tops it. Tough to keep that ball fair.
That ball is drilled to left. Racing over and watching that one clamber against the board is the left fielder Blackman, and into second goes Derek Norris, feasting on left-handed pitching. Norris, he is now 10 for 16.
The pitch prior to this, the short breaking ball. This one, another breaking ball. And he starts his hands a little earlier, gets him in and gets it out front. Oh, that's music to your ears for any hitter. Stayed back just enough on that one.
Drive carrying all the way to the padded lower portion of that left field wall. And here's Matt Kemp, a chance to add on to the 1-0 Padre lead. He flied out to left field his first at bat. Breaking ball for a strike. They play Kemp in the outfield toward right. As it was for Derek Norris, Blackman way off the line in left field. Line drive, base hit. Norris will have to hurry. That one's getting out to Blackman in a hurry. Here comes Blackman's throw to the plate, cut off, and Norris scores. They got Kemp in a rundown, and they tag him out. But the Padres get a run on the home run Barmes, and another on a double Norris and a line RBI single by Matt Kemp. Barmes, measure that one, his first home run as a San Diego Padre, and San Diego takes a 2-0 lead. Derek Norris, who had doubled, and Kemp runs his RBI count up to 14, leading the Padres and among the leaders in the National League. 15 games, 14 RBIs for Kemp. Leading off the bottom of the third for Colorado, the number 9 hitter Rafael Ynoa. Switch hitting infielder takes a strike from Brandon Morrow. Then Blackman and Tulowitzki to follow. Ynoa, 27, from the Dominican. Came up in September last year and impressed the Rockies. He hit .343, knocked in 13 runs. Outside, 2-1.
Talking about some of the pitches for Brandon Morris. See, he holds the ball to his side, but he's in his changeup grip, and then whatever sign he gets, he will adjust accordingly in his glove. It's kind of like a split change grip.
Another roller to the right side. Jerko throws out Yanoa for the first down. And to the top of the order we go for the Rockies leadoff man, Charlie Blackmon.
So like Tim Lincecum throws it, Joaquin Benoit kind of throws it. We called it a splange, right? Because it's a split change. It's not a true split finger. It's not a true circle change-up grip.
It's not a true fork ball.
Right. Elroy face, right?
Yeah. It's kind of a combination of all those things. Darren Balsley, no matter what you want to call it, he likes what he sees.
Yep, there you're looking at the best pitching coach in all of Major League Baseball.
Blackmon grounded to second his first time. Jerko has had 3 assists already in the game. Over but low. That might have been that changeup. Last year, through April 20th, he was hitting .406 at this point with a couple of home runs. Two and 0. Finished the year at .288, 19 homers. On the outside corner, that's paint.
That is paint. You got that right. Maybe off the corner a little bit.
Wide strike zone for Chad Fairchild.
Yeah, but what's the MO? He's trying to keep it low and away. He's going up and out of the zone. Doesn't want to take the chance on the Fox tracks.
That Fox track wasn't the pitch of
the one for
Blackmon. That was from another hitter.
Got it.
Because there's already 7 up there, and now the count is 2-2.
My math was never good. Not my strong suit.
Line foul. Now the Rockies, who had the worst record in the entire National League, major leagues for that matter, on the road last year, totally turned things around this year. They won their first 6 games high and the count full. But then after sweeping the Giants, went down to Los Angeles, lost all 3 games, and then last night to the Padres, so a 4-game dip for Walt Weiss's team.
Well, with a full count early on this season, Charlie Blackmon is hitting .402.
High fly ball left field. Upton looking up into the gray sky. 2 away. A reminder that our closed captioning for tonight's game is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Tulowitzki handcuffed Middlebrooks at third base with a hot shot to third that got into the left field corner for a double, the only hit allowed by Brandon Morrow. Up high, ball 1.
Troy Tulowitzki, keep the ball down on him. He likes the ball down and in as well. 500 down and in. Likes to get extended. Down and away. You can get him down and away and up and away a little bit.
2-0. We talked about Tulowitzki and his new diet. He was inspired in that regimen by Novak Djokovic, the tennis player.
Really?
Low sugar, gluten and dairy free. But a tennis all-star, Grand Slam champion Djokovic, he said he'd been following him and how great he plays and his quickness and movement and the terrific condition he's in. He said, I'm going to try. It's nice to see tennis give to baseball. You know what I mean?
So no sugared cereals or anything like that. How much fun is that?
2-1. That's a strike. 2-2. And no 3 chocolate milks like you had tonight. Not that I was counting.
Hey, Brandon Morrow's doing a good job with Tulowitzki, going up the ladder, then peppering down and away with that last pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Tulo hits that one deep to left field, but was out in front. It had home run distance. That's still bouncing out there through an exit into the parking lot.
How far out in front does he get there? Oh, yeah, he kind of reaches. His body was kind of drifting a little bit, but keeping his hands back.
Back again, 2-2. 2 gone here in the third. No one aboard. Ground ball to short. Barmes with good hands, quick throw, and the inning comes to an end. 1, 2, 3 go the Rockies. 7 in a row retired by Brandon Morrow. Presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Sequan Casino. Real friendly, real close. And by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. From Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Dick Enberg with Mark Grant, Chris Budden. Pleased you're with us. Game 2 of the 4-game series. The Padres lead 2-0, and Justin Upton will start the 4th. Takes a bender in for a strike. Upton struck out his first time. .297 in his career against Colorado. And 4 for 9 against left-handed pitching. Matzik jumps in front, 2 strikes. Will Middlebrooks and then Jed Jerko here in the 4th inning.
Well, the difference between this game tonight and last night, De La Rosa was just all over the map in the strike zone. The Padres capitalized on it. Matzik's hitting his spots, hitting the corners. Very few pitches over the heart of the plate. Nick Hundley wants this one in the dirt, maybe.
Low and away. Ball in the dirt. 2-2. Beautiful sky. Great sunsets here in the Mile High City. Ground ball, glove, knocked down by Matzik, and the rest is an easy flip for the out. With the first out in the 4th.
Well, let's take a look at how Matzik goes after Justin Upton. Lefty on righty. First pitch. Well, get over breaking ball there, and then he tries to move that breaking ball down and away. Now Justin's really got a battle. He's down 2 strikes. Short, quick to the baseball. We know that. Check swing, lays off. Once again, a bad pitch in the dirt. And that one tries to take up, protect swing there up the middle for the 1-3 put out.
Third baseman Will Middlebrooks flying to right field, his first at bat. Middlebrooks in an interesting run, getting a hit 1 hit per game and a modest 6-game hitting streak. But the 1 hit, often a very big one. Of the 6 hits, only 1 time a single. A couple of home runs in Chicago. Last night is 1 hit, a 2-run triple to center field. Inside. Here is that. This was a golf shot that just lined right over Blackman's head in center field. And by the time he was able to catch the carom, the Padres had plated 2 more runs. Outside, and a 4-pitch walk to Middlebrooks. So 1 out, a man aboard. That is the 3rd walk from Matzik. And time now for the T-Mobile game changer. Major League leaders, most extra base hits this season. You can tag on another one for the Padres tonight with a home run. 48 now. Dodgers leading the way, and the Athletics in second. Padres last year were 3 singles equal 1 run offense. Not this year. Jerko takes outside, ball 1. Jed walked his first time. Infield set for 2. Outfield a shade toward right. Outside and low. Ooh, strike call. 1-1.
No, Dick, you mentioned the outfield and the way they're playing. Stubbs, with his speed, he can play shallow in center field. He's playing on the shallow side, big time in center field.
Ground ball pulled foul past third. So the road trip for the Padres, 4 games coming in tonight. Scoring 30 runs in the 4 games, the Padre offense, and they got a couple early here tonight.
Not the best move from Matzik.
I wonder if he has a much better one and he's just setting that up.
And you see him blowing in his hand right there. Have to get permission with the cold weather from the umpires that you can blow in your hand. When you are on the mound.
Outside, 2-2. Well, the talk around town in San Diego today was that some of the fans were confused. Did the Chargers play 14-3, the football final? They're all excited about the way this team is hitting the ball. Runner goes down low, and Hundley's throw not in time. Quick slide by Middlebrooks. Just did beat the tag.
Pretty good jump right there. First move from the left-hander, and this ball on the shortstop side quickly. Ooh, wonder if that's challenge worthy from Walt Weiss.
Second steal from Middlebrooks.
Walt Weiss still looking towards the phone in the dugout there. I think time
is run out on him. You can't wait this long.
Yeah, that's too long, isn't it?
The pitch to Jerko was low, so the count full on Jed. Another look. Just got that front leg
not in there
on
yet.
The edge of the sack. There. And then the tag.
I don't know.
You think there's enough there to overturn it?
I don't know if there's enough to overturn.
And bang, bang play.
Yeah. But I love the replays.
Yeah. If you were the manager, every game would last 6 hours. Outside, and Jerko for the second time has walked, and that's 4 free tickets from Matzik, working himself with wildness into trouble with one out. The Padres bring up Alonso. They have 2 on the board. Alonso up the middle, and Troy Tulowitzki took care of the play unassisted at second base. Well, how about that? Runners in scoring position. The Padres leading the National League, hitting .320. Last year was about 100 points lower than that. They're 1 for 1 tonight. They were 9 for 12 last night. Way outside with a breaking ball. The Wild is also hiking that pitch count for Manson. Next one will be 60. Middlebrooks at second, Jerko at first. 1 out.
That was a hanger.
For ball, but dropped it in at the knees. Barmes with a home run, his first time on deck. Foul tip into the glove of Hundley. 1-2. Yonder has reached base safely in 12 of the 13 games in which he's played. Low and away with a fastball. No, that came in at 84. So
yeah.
A curveball that didn't break much. So 2-2 to Alonso. 2 men on. Up the middle, and a nice play by the second baseman LeMahieu, and it's a double play for 6-3. The Gold Glove performer last year, DJ LeMahieu at second, able to stab the ball, use his glove on the flip, and Tulowitzki does the rest. All right, feeling good here as well as right-hander Brandon Morrow goes to work in the 4th inning. It'll be Carlos Gonzalez, Justin Morneau, and Nick Hundley for the Rockies. 2-0 San Diego.
And for 9 outs recorded by Morrow, 5 ground outs, 2 fly balls, 2 strikeouts.
1-1. Gonzalez grounded to second his first time.
Hey, Dick, that was the nice thing about last night's game. Despaigne, 10 ground balls outs, right? In this field where the ball jumps out of the ballpark, only 4 flyouts.
Broken bat looper, and that'll make it into the crowd. Unfortunately, the barrel of the bat doesn't strike anyone. Goes all the way out to the second base position. Jerko will field the spear. Batting practice, Gonzalez put on a show. Blast after blast, not into the right field seats, but into the second deck. Foul tip.
Oh, I love the slow-mo. That's a slider. Gets in the kitchen of Gonzalez. Snappy.
Just above the hands. That's where it'll break that bat. 1-2.
Looks like a maple bat from Carlos Gonzalez that he uses.
Shot to second.
No!
Oh, what a play by Jerko. Olay.
That was sweet.
Hot sauce.
Now that is hot sauce, Professor.
That's a 4th assist for Jerko. Busy at second tonight.
Oh. Plenty of time to make the flip throw.
Gonzalez saying, what do I have to do to get a hit?
That's not an easy play.
Great reactions by Jed. Brings up Justin Morneau. He walked the first time. On the outside edge.
Oh, right on the heel.
That got out there so fast. You could see Jerko was not looking at the ball when it hit his glove. He was looking out in front and got the glove there just in time. 2 strikes now to Morneau. Mark Grant kind of surprising going through the starting lineup. And granted, they don't have Dickerson nor Arenado in there. But in the starting lineup, only 5 home runs for the Rockies and no one with more than 1.
That's usually, I think as time goes on, that will change. But, you know, it's, I think the Padres pitchers, this only being game 2, they're pitching them well.
Morneau goes to the opposite field and punches one through that 5.5 hole. And that's the second Rocky hit tonight. Brings up Nick Hundley.
Well, you don't see Justin Morneau going that way that often, especially on the ground. Does he hit down on this ball? Oh, he reaches out. It's away. See him playing over to go the other way and perfectly placed it. Will Middlebush is way off the line at third base. And Barmes was shading over towards the bag. He beats the shift. Somewhat shift.
Nick Hundley grounded to short his first time. B.J. LeMahieu on deck. Alonso a long run, but it's falling 2-3 rows back. Arizona Wildcat Nick Hundley, now 31 years young. Infield looking for a grounder, try to turn 2 and support a Brandon Morrow. Inside.
Good idea. He wanted it in. Derek Norris was set up on the inside corner, but if you're going to miss, you'd rather miss that way rather than the heart of the plate, something Nick Hundley can turn on. 1-1, you're fine.
Come back with a fastball.
You can double up in. Looks like he's going down and away here.
Lined into the right field corner, slicing and by the diving Kemp. Morneau had to hold, but the ball's rolling all the way to the wall. Morneau is going to be able to score. Hundley all the way to third. A stand-up triple. It's 2-1. A valiant try by Kemp. It would have been spectacular had he been able to make the diving catch, but when he missed, then the gate wide open.
Oh, what a great effort by Matt Kemp. And by doing that, as you mentioned, Dick, Justin Morneau, he has to hold up, right? Because if he comes up with that, first of all, it's a great catch. He's got to go back to first base. And Matt did everything right. He can't do anything about the carom after diving. And how close was it? Oh, laying out. Nice try, Matt.
But it was slicing away from him all the way. And Huntley with his first triple of the season and his second RBI. And the tying run with one out at third base for DJ LeMahieu. Changeup. LeMahieu lined out to right his first time. Hitting a robust .444, second in the National League to Adrian Gonzalez. Inside.
Boy, when you look at the way the outfield is playing, they are really over to the right side. Right there. Look at how far over. Talk about trying to go the other way, playing to go the other way. Matt Kemp, he's very close to the right field line.
He isn't that close to the line with a left-handed pull hitter. Hit to the infield, but they're playing back. Jerko will get the out. The run scores. Nick Hundley doing some damage to his former team. Knocks in one and scores the second, and the game is tied. Credit LeMahieu with his 9th RBI. So we start anew at 2-2.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where so many runs are going to be scored during a ball game here. You play the infield back and out in that situation. Giving up a run is more valuable than playing it in. Then you get a chopper over the head or a dribbler through a hole. They get a run, plus they get another base run. So now 2 outs, back to even.
Drew Stubbs took a third strike his first time. .85 on a riding fastball. So the total's dead even now. 2 runs, 3 hits aside. And you look back at the start of the inning. And thank goodness for the quick reflexes of second baseman Jed Jerko, or this could be a big inning for the Rockies. He goes after Gonzalez. One hopper was stabbed by Jerko. The single by Morneau. Triple Hundley. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and Stubbs has struck out for the second time. But 2 runs on 3 hits for the Rockies, and we're even at 2.
Some battle wounds, one off the calf, another one off the chest. But wanted to show everyone this morning his wound. But he says, I'm going to translate this for you. Injured but happy with my first hit in the big leagues. asked him yesterday after the game, the one off the chest, if it still stung. He goes, it did for a little bit, but then I got my hit and I never thought about it again.
Well, that is a panacea, isn't it? Despaigne, guys having a great time with him, and he's taking it so good-naturedly.
Oh, he's having fun. He's fun to watch. He's fun to be around.
And here it is. We wondered if he would ever get a base hit. So did his teammates. But he shot one through the right side and got it by the Gold Glove of LeMahieu. Here's Clint Barmes leading off the 5th inning. Back to even at 2 here at Coors Field. Barmes with a long home run to left field his first time. And it'll be Morrow and Myers. Way outside. Padres on quite a power run, no shortage in home runs. Hit a home run in 9 consecutive games, almost tying the longest streak ever, 10. So the count goes full to Barmes.
A close eye on Matzik.
Way outside, and that's the 5th walk from Tyler Matzik, and the leadoff man put aboard on a base on balls, and that usually leads to trouble for the opposing pitcher. Well, it gives Morrow a chance to bunt him over.
Absolutely, and we know that Bud Black likes to stir it up a little bit, right? Show bunt, Butcher Boy. Who knows?
Yanoa in on the grass at 3rd. Morneau, of course, has to hold on the runner. Outside and low, ball 1.
Morneau, as you mentioned, Nick, holding on that runner. He's got to hold there and then bust. So that's where Brandon Morrow wants to bunt. Watch for the throw over. Glenn Hoffman says, flashes the signs.
It's a tougher bunt, don't you think, to first base? He right-handed hitter, you got to kind of turn where it's more natural to bunt to 3rd. Did he offer? No. So 2-0 the count.
All right, things might change here.
Glenn Hoffman threw a wild series of signs down at 3rd. If touch your shirt, touch your cap, touch your belt, touch your pants, wipe your San Diego, hit your belt again, and then your cap. If that's the sacrifice, we got it. We picked it up. Squares and ball 3.
Nice.
So Matzik working himself into a hold. He's walked the leadoff man and falls behind the pitcher Morrow, 3-0, trying to give himself up and sacrifice.
That's the 8th 3-ball count from Matzik tonight.
Over at the knees, 3-1. Top of the order, Will Myers and then Derek Norris to follow. Padres trying to get back in the lead after giving up 2 in the bottom of the 4th.
I wouldn't sign me maybe a Butcher Boy here. Or is he giving him the full swing?
Inside, ball 4. Oh my, that'll get the phones ringing and the fans moaning. 6 walks now from Matzik.
Nice job turning that lineup over, walking the pitcher. Now the chance for the Padres to do some damage.
And when you think back to the first inning, Norris a 3-2 pitch that appeared to be ball 4 but was called strike 3. So Matzik really walking the tightrope with his wildness. And his teammates trying to keep him from falling off that rope.
And pitching coach Steve Foster out to have a chat. Maybe a little settle down and a refresher course against Will Myers.
Myers walked the first time. Hard to walk him, only the second time that he's accepted a free ticket all season. Then he grounded to 3rd the last at bat. So the pitch count rising rapidly with Matzik walking 6. He's allowed 3 hits. That's a career high, and there's no one out in the 5th inning.
Got to do some damage here.
Table set. Ball one. And what happens when a pitcher gets in one of these streaks where he can't throw a strike? Now the umpire is thinking ball when he throws it, and you're not going to get the close edges.
Exactly.
It starts to compound itself. 75 pitches, 39 balls, 36 strikes. Not good. See, that could have been called a strike, that first pitch. Low, 2-0. You almost have to force him to throw a strike before you take a cut. I mean, it's 2-0. Unlikely that Myers is swinging.
You know, some teams will put the take on. Some will, if you get in that zone, 2-0, go to hacking.
He is, and swings at ball three. Now a break for Matzik. He asked plate umpire Fairchild, was that a strike? And it appeared Fairchild said, no, sorry, man. 2-1. Soft fly ball back a second. LeMahieu out. Gonzalez in, plays it on a hop. Watch out here. He's coming to the plate. He'll be out by a mile. Farmas in a rundown trying to help his team, and he doesn't there as he's tagged out. Oh, why would you challenge Gonzalez? That guy's got one of the great arms in baseball. Not even close. That ball was to the catcher, and Farmas was 40 feet from home plate. Padres have done that on this road trip, run themselves into outs on the bases. So Myers with a blue pit. Farmas thrown out at the plate. Morrow moves to second base.
Boy, really a strange play. Gonzalez playing back. This ball dumps in there, and Clint just keeps on rolling as Glenn Hoffman's got the stop sign up. Wow.
So Matzik generous with his wildness. The base on balls, and the Padres return it on some questionable base running. Derek Norris lined a double into the left field corner, hit the base of the wall in left field his second time up. He struck out the first time, and then scored on Kemp's single in the third. One out, 2 men aboard. Farmas trying to assimilate the base running error.
Well, let's check. Okay, he's on second base, secondary, right? He's watching. Knows he's going to fall in, and he doesn't pick up Glenn Hoffman until after he touches the bag and threw the bag a little bit, and that's when he got caught in between. That gives us a better look at what Clint was looking at on second base.
2 strikes to Derek Norris. Go to right field there. Good patience, and that would have been a nice pitch to poke to right. Morrow takes his lead at second base, and Myers at first. Rolled toward third. Inoa bobbles the ball. Everyone's safe. Inoa looked at second to see if he had a play there and lost the concentration. Kicks it around, and safe on the air is Norris, and the bases are loaded. Well, the Rockies doing everything they can to help the Padres along in the inning. A blue pit, a couple of walks, now an error. Bases loaded for Matt Kemp.
And that's a play where you have to take advantage of. Put pressure on Matzik and the Rockies with your best hitter right now, especially here in Colorado, in Matt Kemp.
Morrow stops at third. Myers moves to second. Norris safe at first. Infield, except for the first base. Now Morneau is going to back off as well. They'll give up a run for an out or a chance at a double play, but Kemp's got bigger ideas and takes ball one. fly to left the first time, lined RBI single in the third, and then he was caught as he tried to round first. And so the Padres have had 2 men thrown out on the bases tonight. Padre over every pillow. Ball 2. Oh, a late call strike.
Yeah, I was right there with you, Greg. I thought that ball was off the plate. What does Southland Technology think about that one? You know, that's a ball.
Now that second pitch, that's on the corner. It's touching the
corner of 20th and Blake.
1-1 to Kim. Line drive, 1 hop. That's going to be a double play, and the inning is over. Oh my! A golden opportunity for the Padres in the 5th goes by the board. 2 double plays for Colorado. Passed away earlier today after a tough fight with cancer. Burns joined Fox Sports in 2001, served as a pit reporter for our Sprint Cup Series coverage through the 2014 season. He was unable to be on our 2015 NASCAR broadcast due to his illness. He was also a play-by-play announcer for Fox Sports 1's NASCAR Camping World Truck Series races, hosted several auto racing shows on the company's channels. Burns passed away just 2 days after the race at Bristol Motor Speedway, which was named the Food City 500 in support of Steve Burns. Though he was unable to attend the race, Burns watched on TV and tweeted a response to a fan who asked if he made it through the entire rain-delayed event. Burns is survived by his wife of 22 years, Karen, and their 12-year-old son, Bryson, Fort Mill, South Carolina. So the bottom of the 5th inning, Padres get a single, 2 walks, and an error, and can't score in the top half of the inning. And here's Matzik. 1-1. He struck out the first time. Matzik, then Inoa, and the leadoff man Blackman scheduled here in the 5th. Lights now taking their full effect. Fastball just outside, 2-1. Matzik 7 for 38 as a hitter last year, and he has a double in 2 at bats this season starting tonight. Whoa, right back through the middle. Rifles a base hit to center field. Helping himself. Leadoff man on for the Rockies.
We saw last night hockey suit almost off the foot. Despagne off the chest, off the shin. I'm sure Odriesmeyer will kind of jab at Brendan Morrow a little bit and say, hey, you know what? You got to stop that one, dude.
That ball dissecting the mound and second base on its way to center field. So here's Rafael Inoa, grounded to second his first time. And he is going to square, takes outside, ball one. Fourth hit for the Rockies.
I'm wondering if that bunt is just kind of like a show for the first pitch, as Middlebrooks way in at third base.
He's swinging, and it's 2-0.
Yeah, it just didn't sit right with me to have, you got a runner, you got nobody out, swing away. Why give up an out, especially here in Colorado? Take a look at the outfield, their defense. Will Myers is really shallow inside. And when I say really shallow, look at how shallow he is out there.
Strike one, 2-1. Out of play, he had the runner going. The pitcher was on the move, a little hit and run. So old Weiss pulling out all the stops here in the fifth inning.
Oh, look at that smile. Just made her night. Got some ice cream, got a big league baseball.
Mama protecting the baby. Dad gets the ball, and that little girl is going to go home a happy camper. 2-2. Inside target, and it's chopped toward second. A really tough play. Jerko's flip, not nearly close. Base hit. Swinging bunt single for Noah, and the Rockies have something brewing here in the fifth. No one out.
Well, Brandon Morrow could not get to that baseball, and Jed Jerko did everything he could to drive to the scoop. So let's go back to square one. Chopper, right side, big hob, can't get to it. Well, at least the ball was not thrown away there, and it keeps the Rockies at first and second, and it keeps the double play in order.
So no one out, and now the top of the order is the 8 and 9 hitters, the pitcher and the third baseman with base hits. Blackman is grounded out and flied out. And he squares the bunt and misses. Middlebrooks can play just at the cut of the grass. He has to protect third base as well. The bunt.
What? I'm really
logically to go to third base.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Charlie Blackman even trying to bunt there. Had a chance to run into one.
Yeah, that may have been a show, just as you indicated with he's swinging. Trying to punch one right at Middlebrooks. He's only about 85 feet from home plate. Now Middlebrooks can back off with 2 strikes on the hit. Well, the Padres have been victimized. A couple of double plays that have taken them out of innings. Turned about to be fair play here.
That's a strike.
95 on the fastball, up and in.
I think that's a strike.
Yes, sir. Right at the top of the strike zone, number 3.
The high strike doesn't get much love in baseball.
It does not. You're right. So 1-2 the count. That close to a strikeout. And now he rips one into right field. Up against the wall. Kim trying to play it. Here comes the pitcher Matzek to score. Right behind him, Inoa. He scores to third. A triple for Blackman. 4-2 Colorado. So they almost had Blackman struck out, but he doesn't get the call. Morrow, and then the next pitch. Line double to right and 2 runs for the Rockies.
Well, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to erase it from your hard drive and try to make a good quality pitch. The next pitch from Morrow is something down and in. You see Derek Norris reaches down and in. He wanted it down and away, and then everybody's off and running.
Second triple of the night for the Rockies. Hundley with a triple, not going to run the last inning.
And now we know where Charlie Blackmon likes to swing that bat and make good contact. It was down and in.
Still no one out. Now you got Tulowitzki and Gonzalez and Morneau to face. Infield plays halfway. High fly ball. Plenty deep. Kemp waiting for it to come down. Tagging Blackmon. He'll score easily. It's 5-2. Tulowitzki with his 8th RBI on the sacrifice fly. And that's what can happen here at Coors Field. Scores can come in bunches and quickly. Gonzalez now with the bases empty. Shift is on.
See how far that ball traveled off the bat of Tulowitzki? I mean, from center field, you see the trajectory off the bat. You think, oh, it's going to just be a medium fly ball. Not here. Brooks Brown looks like he's heating up, Dick, in the Rockies bullpen.
Matzik is the pitcher of record and helped himself by leading off this inning with a sharp single back through the middle. Then the scratch hit by Inoa. And Blackmon brings both home with a triple to right. And Tulowitzki the sacrifice fly to make it 5-2. The changeup has Gonzalez out in front. He's hit the ball both times at Jerko. The last time was a blistering one hopper that Jerko made a great play. Two and one.
Sometimes the high hanging slider is a good pitch. That's what we just saw to Gonzalez. Up just enough. Some batters have difficulty with that.
This hitter overdue. He's won for the last 16. Off the head of the bat, foul. Tonight's game presented in HD by Sony 4K. Two-two pitch. Left field. Upton a long run to the foul line and in foul territory grabs the out. Two away.
Yeah, it looks like Justin got after that one quite nicely. Remember, he was out with that quad or that groin that he had, right?
Quad, yeah, it was a quad injury.
The quad injury or the strain. So it looks like he got to that ball quite nicely.
Justin Morneau walked the first time and singled and scored on Hundley's triple in the fourth. Out in front. Slider. Ooh, way upstairs. Overthrew that one at 94. Gonzalez talking to himself. Another 0 for working for him. 0 for 3.
Good for him.
Two and one. Fifth inning. 3 runs for the Rockies after they played at 2 in the fourth to lead it now 5-2. Off the fist. Jerko has another assist and the inning comes to an end, but a big 2-run triple off the bat of Charlie Blackmon and a sacrifice fly Tulo. It's 5-2. Justin Upton will start things in the 6th inning for the Padres. They now need 3 to tie.
over 64,000 seats, so we'd pretty much be guaranteed sellouts no matter what. The tickets would be more exclusive, if you will, because they would be sold out most of the time. And we're confident that if we could get the same kind of stadium deal that other teams have gotten, we could survive here in San Diego if another team moved to Los Angeles.
So Mark Fabiani will bring you right up to date. SD Live, that'll follow the post-game show right here on Fox Sports San Diego. Some very important information regarding the San Diego Chargers. Can we keep our NFL team at home where they belong? Here at Coors Field, the pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford as Brooks Brown enters. He pitched an inning last night, gave up a hit to Barmas, and no runs.
And if you need a refresher course on Mr. Brown, 92 to 96 on the fastball, curveball, slider, and a change.
So Tyler Matzik, not with his best control as you look at Brandon Morrow. Goes 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, walked 6, and struck out 3, and he leaves with a possible victory at hand. The Padres have 4 innings to get after that 3-run Colorado advantage. Justin Upton starts the 6th. And takes a strike at 95. Found a 28-year-old rookie last year, came up for 28 games, all in relief for the Rockies. Blowing away. Was originally picked by Arizona in 2006. The 34th overall player selected out of Portal, Georgia High School. One and 2. And on to the University of Georgia. Upton has struck out and tapped out to the mound. Ooh, that didn't miss by much.
No, he got squeezed a couple times in this at bat, but he's got a nice little tight breaking ball, a little slider there.
Yeah, that should have been a strike.
See if Justin Upton can do some damage. We've seen a lot of that lately. Missed call and then kapow.
Got him. Second time Upton has struck out.
Hey, the Dodgers are coming to town. They're coming to our house. The Padres take on the Dodgers April 24th through the 26th, and all fans get a free 2015 pet calendar presented by Cox on Saturday. Get tickets at Padres.com. You don't want to miss it.
Dodgers up in San Francisco for 3. They're underway in the first inning, no score. Middlebrooks flied out and walked and takes ball 1. Jed Jerko on deck. Two and 0.
Boy, you look at the line of Tyler Matzik, and somewhat frustrating because 6 walks, 85 pitches, 44 strikes, 41 balls. Not a good ratio.
Ground ball up the middle and a base hit for Middlebrooks. So 1-out single, and that'll bring up Jed Jerko. Well, the Padres unable to take advantage of that wildness. 2 men thrown out on the bases and a couple of double plays.
So now the right-hander out there, and Will Middlebrooks takes that 2-seamer and plays a little pepper with the center fielder. Infield, Tulowitzki had him playing the pull a little bit.
Jerko up twice, has walked on both occasions. Yonder Alonso now with the right-hander in the game on deck.
I think it's time for Jed to lay into one.
Ball 1. Looking for his first home run this year. He's hit some long ones here at Coors Field. Down low, 2-0. Morris and Kemp going over the hitters and the pitchers. Ooh, just missed it. High fly ball to right field, way up there. And Gonzalez with the second out. Yonder Alonso grounded twice up the middle, once into a double play. A modest shift. You see Tulowitzki about 7 feet on the shortstop side of second, with third baseman Yanoa playing in the shortstop spot. And as we all know, Yonder hits a lot of balls to the opposite field.
Yeah, especially with Brown throwing 94 or 95 away. Yonder can take it that way.
2-0. Changeup. Brandon Maurer may be relieving Brandon Morrow. Ground ball. Nice play by Morneau at first base to take a possible double away from Alonso. Middle of the sixth, the Colorado Rockies lead 5-2. All right, Mike. Morrow stays in the game and will face Nick Hundley, DJ LeMahieu, and Drew Stubbs in the sixth inning. Big blow for Hundley. Padres were leading 2-0. He tripled in a run and then later scored himself on a sacrifice fly to tie the game in the fourth, and then 3 more for the Rockies on singles. Matzik and Inoa, and a 2-run triple off Charlie Blackmon's pad, and he then scored on Tulowitzki's sacrifice fly. Fly ball to right, and playing him in the corner is Kemp. Makes the catch. So time now for a memorable moment in Padres history, brought to you by Geico as we go to April 2008. 6 hours, 16 minutes, 15 pitchers, 658 pitches. Padres hurler Glendon Rush takes a called third strike from the Rockies' Kip Wells, and Colorado outlasts San Diego 2-1 in 22 innings, mercifully drawing the curtain on the longest game in history for both franchises. Drew Tulowitzki hit a 2-out double to score Willie Taveras in the top of the 22nd inning.
That was torture. That was absolute torture that night. And games like that have repercussions for weeks for a ball club. Talk about bullpens.
Both teams, but especially the losing team. DJ LeMahieu takes a strike, 1-1.
And for the Rockies that night, Yorvik Torrealba caught all 22 frames.
LeMahieu's line to right and grounded to second, not going to run with that ground out.
Rafael Betancourt looks like he's heating up in the Rocky bullpen. Time now to check the Cholula flamethrower. I like that beanie, by the way. I want that beanie. Let's check out the flamethrower. 97 from Brandon Morrow. You know what that is, Dick?
What is that?
Muy caliente.
Gonna burn up your microphone there in front of your mouth.
See what he does here. Goes with the changeup, maybe.
That ball back into the crowd, and the count stays at 2-2 to LeMahieu, having a great April. Hitting safely in 11 of 13 games. And second only to Adrian Gonzalez in the batting race early on, with a 444 mark starting this evening's play. Saw a fly ball on the infield. Who wants it? Oh, Jerko and Barmas. And Jerko able to reach in front of the shortstop and make the play. 2 outs. Drew Stubbs the batter.
Let's see if there's communication here. Clint Barmas, Jed Jerko. Didn't look like it. It's like Clint Barmas, shortstop. He'll usually take charge.
So here's Drew Stubbs up twice. Morrow has punched him out on both occasions. High fly ball. Center fielder Myers. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Morrow. Through 6, the Rockies by 3. The Padres took the early lead. Clint Barmes with his first Padre home run. That came in the third inning, 1-0. And then after Derek Norris had doubled in the third inning, Matt Kemp brought him home. And the Padres led 2-0. Kemp rounding first was caught in a rundown. 1 of 2 Padres thrown out on the bases tonight. Then Nick Hundley went to work. A triple just out of the reach of Kemp. That knocked in a run. He later scored himself. It's 2-2. And with 2 on, Charlie Blackmon, another Rocky triple into the right field corner. That made it 4-2, and then Blackmon scored on Tulowitzki's sacrifice fly. Brandon Morrow giving up the 5 runs all earned on 6 hits. Tyler Matzik wild 6 walks, but only 2 runs as the Padres hit into 2 double plays and 2 men were thrown out on the bases. Barmes a home run and a walk. Blackmon a big 2-run triple. Corey Spangenberg is going to hit for Barmes. And he takes ball 1. They don't use the exaggerated shift on Spangenberg tonight. They did the other. Fly ball to left center field, hit pretty well in the gap and through to the wall. And that's a triple written on it, but Spangenberg can't get 3 as the ball bounces into the crowd. A ground rule double. That was a sure triple. He was at second base when the ball took that kangaroo into the crowd. So coming off the bench with a pinch double, Spangenberg.
Going the opposite way, sparking the bench a little bit, and the way this ball was, it hits off the track. That ball went a long way.
Surprisingly long way.
Good swing, good at bat for Corey.
And now Amarista will hit for Morrow. Alexi not in the starting lineup the first 2 games of this series as Barmes gets the call. Padres trying to chip away at that 5-2 lead. Swing and a miss. 94 to the fastball.
Darren Balsley going over the game. Maybe some pitches, maybe some at bat. And there's the line for Brandon Morrow.
Ground ball sharply, but right at the second baseman. LeMahieu throws out Amarista, 1 away, and Spangenberg moves to third. Padres need to get him home and cut this to a 2-run game.
And in the meantime, Dale Thayer starts to heat up alongside Morrow or Mauer. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, we got Mauer, Morrow, and Morneau. Top of the order, Will Myers looped a single into shallow right field this last time. He also has walked and grounded out. I forgot about Myers thrown out in the first inning trying to steal. There actually been 3 Padres thrown out on the bases. 1 trying to steal. Kemp caught in a rundown after he singled in a run, and then a very critical out with no one out. 2 men on and a single by Myers. Barmes ran into an out between home and third. Should have been bases loaded, no one out. And that was a golden chance for the Padres, and they wound up in that inning not scoring a run, even though they had 2 walks, an error, and a single. The attendance tonight, 22,600. Infield back, they'll give up a run on a ground ball. Spangenberg, the fastest Padre, so he's ready to sprint for home. Two balls and a strike. Line drive, base hit. That's headed for the corner. And a potential double as Spangenberg scores. It's 5-3. Myers takes a big turn and will hold with the RBI double. His 9th RBI of the season. And the Padres draw within 2 and have another run in scoring position in the form of Myers.
Well, the attitude of this ball club is 3 runs down, 4 runs down. Hey, we're going to have a chance. Now the top of the order. Elevated pitch. Nice swing by Will Myers. And another runner in scoring position. Another extra base hit.
And that'll bring up Derek Norris, who has a double and 3 trips today. Myers' 6th double of the season. Line to center, but it's right at the center fielder. Myers will hustle back to second base, and tough luck hitting for Norris. Sent a rope to center, but Stubbs right there. So Matt Kemp with 2 outs.
Well, the top of the order, 4 hits between 3 of them. Myers, Norris, Kemp getting on. And Clint Barmer's 2 for 2 night with Corey Spangenberg. I take that back. 1 for 1 for Barmes with the home run and the walk, and then the double by Spangenberg. Boy, you talk about extreme right side, the rubber, first base side. Look at the foot of Brooks Brown there. Is he even touching the rubber? He's got to be in contact with it. Kind of tough to tell there.
Barely, if at all. Swing and a miss. Kemp flied to left, knocked in a run with a single, and grounded into a double play. These are updated with Paul Goldschmidt leading the National League with 15 runs batted in, and Kemp tied with Adrian Gonzalez. Will Middlebrook's on that list. Low and away, 1-1. Five to 3, Colorado. Fouled at the plate.
Looks like Brown keeping everything away to the righties. He's got that little tight slider, the fastball outside corner.
Prompted by the scoreboard, the 22,600 trying to make some noise. Ball, 2 strikes on Matt Kemp. Outside. Close call, 2-2.
I was going to jump out of this booth if he was going to call that a strike. I'm sure a lot of people would have liked that.
No.
But just off the plate, once again, Brown going away, away, away. Let's see if Matt Kemp can display that opposite field power.
Just joining us, top of the 7th inning, the Padres have scored on doubles by Spangenberg and Myers to cut the lead 5-3. Myers at second. Kemp 2-2 pitch. And the count goes full again, keeping it low and away. If Kemp reaches safely, Justin Upton, the cleanup hitter, is on deck. Kemp representing the tying run. Outside, ball 4. The tying run is on. That was a patient at bat by the veteran Kemp. So first and second for Justin Upton. Upton has struck out twice tonight and tapped to the mound.
Yeah, you know, Dick, you make a good point. The veteran, Matt Kemp, he's been in that situation many, many times. A lot of younger hitters may have gotten a little froggy there with that runner in scoring position, right? But Matt, as you mentioned, he was patient. Pass it on to the next hitter, and it looks like Walt Weiss is going to make a double switch.
So they've called for the right-hander in the bullpen. And we'll see just how Weiss lines up his team. And when we come back, Upton up with 2 men on. Insurance. You could get 2 free Padre tickets. Learn more at mercuryinsurance.com. By Petco, what we feed them matters. And by your San Diego Lexus dealer. From the capital city of Colorado, Mile High Denver, welcome back. We're in the 7th inning. The Padres have scored a run to cut the Colorado lead to 5-3. Rafael Betancourt has come in to pitch for Colorado with 2 men on. Myers at second and Kemp the tying run at first. 2 gone, and Justin Upton, the Padre cleanup hitter, the batter.
This veteran right-hander, Rafael Betancourt, is a strike thrower. Sure, early on in the season, 7 games, a nice ERA. And look at the splits, even. Below $1. 0.91 versus the right-hander. Keeps the ball in the yard over the course of his career. Very slow and deliberate.
7 innings this year, allowing only 2 hits, 1 run, and 1 walk. 9 strikeouts in those 7 innings.
Hey, the Friars here, hoping for a little Padre rally, even on crutches. He's coming to Colorado to root on the San Diego Padres, putting the hex on the Rockies.
Yeah, try to heal this deficit. So Upton, a rough night so far with a couple of strikeouts and a comebacker to the mound, but a big opportunity here. 5-3 Colorado. Myers with the RBI double at second. Kemp over at first base with a walk.
Oh, he's got his routine. Pants, shirt, hat, ball, glove.
Fidgety is an understatement. High with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Two and 0. Looked pretty good. Daniel Descalso has gone in on the double switch. He's at second base. And if you're scoring, he'll hit 8th. Put Betancourt in the 6th position. DJ LeMahieu out of the game. Well, Upton sitting on a 2-0 pitch. Three and 0 up high. Will Middlebrooks on deck. Think Buddy will give him the green light here, 3-0?
Sure. I like that idea. If it's right there, why not?
Tough pitch there. Yeah. He didn't get one right down belt high, so he takes the strike low and away. 3-1. Myers and Kemp ready to roll with 2 outs. Drive to left field, but it's hanging in the air. Didn't quite get it all, and Blackman makes the catch. The Padres get 1 on a couple of doubles and leave 2. It's 5-3 Colorado.
just to nothing. Runners at first and second, Betancourt, and check out this sequence of pitches. Up, down, up, down. Now he's trying to paint. How about this one? Right down the dish. Number 5 got in on him a little bit, kept it in the ball yard. And the Padres left a couple stranded. Good swing, just got in on Justin Upton a little bit.
Brandon Maurer in to pitch his 5th game as a Padre. Will face Daniel Descalso just into the game, and Inoa in the top of the order in Blackman. Veteran Descalso, 13 at bats with a couple of hits, 2 singles, and Marista stays in the game at shortstop and will be hitting in the 9th spot in the order. .89 on that delivery.
This will cut fastball or slider.
Swing and a miss. Descalso punched out as Maurer has his strikeout, first strikeout.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Rafael Inoa hitting 9th, in for Nolan Arenado. Arenado for the 2nd night, scratched with that sore wrist. And Inoa dribbled one just past the mound for an infield hit in the 5th inning, a big base hit because Matzik, the pitcher, had singled, so 2 men on, and Blackman promptly hit a triple into the right field corner, scoring both to make it a 4-2 game, and then Blackman scored on Tulowitzki's sacrifice fly. One and one. Popped up off third, and Marista into foul territory and calls off Middlebrooks for the out. So 2 away, and Charlie Blackman the batter.
Hey, nice pitches right there by Brandon Maurer. He got him with a changeup out in front. Showed a little tight slider and the changeup. 2 quick outs here in the 7th.
Maurer from the Seattle Mariners. A.J. Preller is trading Seth Smith to the Northwest for his fireballing delivery.
And you can see the changeup grip out of the glove. Nice pitch.
Blackman grounded out, flied out, and then that big 2-run triple. A pitch after Padres thought he struck out, taking a pitch in the strike zone, not called strike 3. See him with that little protective device on the right thumb. One and one. Padres with 2 in the 3rd. Rockies with 2 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th. Padres get 1 back in the 7th. 5-3. 2 balls and a strike. Tulowitzki on deck. Both those pitches 1 and 3 very, very close. Pulled to the right side, foul. Well, tomorrow 5 o'clock for Padres Live, the pregame show. James Shields will be on the hill for the Padres, looking for his 3rd win. He's 2-0. Kyle Kendrick, the former Philly, acquired by the Rockies. He's 1-2 with an ERA of over 7. He'll be the starter for Walt Weiss's Rockies. That looked pretty good, but count goes 3-2. Bases empty, 2 outs here in the 7th. And the final game of this road trip and the 4-game series here in Colorado on Thursday noon will be our TV time. And Tyson Ross will go against Jordan Lyles, and then the Padres come home for the 3-game series with the Dodgers. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right field hit well. Kemp back and makes the catch. Kemp timing that one and up with the glove to make the catch. Blackman can't believe it. He's all the way to third, thinking that was going to clear Kemp's stride. Takes that one right away from the wall. All right, Mike and Mark will be with you in that post-game show. Plenty to talk about again tonight. Kemp with an RBI single to hike his total of 14. Middlebrooks a walk and a single, 1 for 2 tonight. And that one's going to fall into left field for a base hit. Middlebrooks gets it started here in the 8th inning. Sounded like he hit that off the end of the bat. Let's go back to the play made by Matt Kemp, charging and getting up high enough. The former basketball star in Oklahoma High School, showing he can get up to the rim.
That is a huge catch. Why? Because on deck was Troy Tulowitzki. You never know what's going to happen. He's getting it back in the dugout, and what do you know? A broken bat single. Will Middlebrooks. That's what Mark Sweeney was just talking about. A bloop and a blast. Hey, maybe more in store for the Friars.
Jerko walked twice and flied to right. Just missed the shot to right field. It was high in the air. Swinging to the fences there. Strike one. Yonder Alonso in the on-deck circle. 8th inning. Padres have the tying run at the plate. They've out-hit the Rockies tonight 8-6. But again, 3 men thrown out on the bases, plus a couple of double plays, snuffed out possible big innings. 91 on the fastball. So Jerko in the hole, 2 strikes. Got it. 3-pitch strikeout, 1 away.
Looks like Bencourt going up the ladder to Jed Jerko, about chest high, letter high. Four-seamer.
Yonder Alonso, the hitter, and Walt Weiss is going to make a pitching change here, undoubtedly going to bring in a left-hander. Boone Logan was throwing, warming up. So Betancourt, 2/3 of an inning, gives up a hit here to lead off the 8th. We'll break for an action. Be right back.
Got the guys to come back. We don't want to be falling behind too much, but I think with our group, with our pitching staff, we know if we fall behind, we're going to stay in games, and with our offense, we have a chance to go ahead. So, 9 innings is the whole game, and no matter what's happened, we believe that we got the guys to come back.
Welcome back. Will Venable saying you can never count this team out. Already 5 times this season, they've come from behind to win. With a man on first, this could be it, guys.
So unlike last year when they were behind and won 9 times in 80 games trying to come from behind. Not this year. 5 times already here, and we're just into the 15th game of the season. They've come back to win. Boone Logan pitched last night in the 9th. Alonso greeted him with a base hit, and then he struck out a couple to close out the 9th. Yonder, a ground out, a double play, and a hard shot to first base. Good play made by Morneau the last time up. He went around. 1-1.
Logan's kind of got that delivery where he kind of drops down just a little bit. He throws the slider and the fastball, 90-94. Pitched the 9th last night to get an inning of work in. He struck out 2 while he gave up a hit.
Jan Solarte, the pitcher spot is due next, and Solarte in the on-deck circle. Waved at and missed. Off-speed breaking ball.
Well, more times than not, you see lefty on lefty matchups, and you see that big sweeping breaking ball.
Tying run at the plate here, 5-3, Colorado, top of the 8th. Oh, hit him. And the Padres on a 1-2 pitch. Boy, Logan certainly didn't want that to happen. That puts the tying run on and brings up Jan Solarte. Solarte, who had the big 2-run homer coming off the bench in Chicago on Sunday.
Hey, that could be huge. Yonder Alonso taking one for the team.
Right in the wallet.
Yep.
That moves Middlebrooks to second. And raises hope as Solarte steps up, hitting right-handed. He's had many more opportunities from the left side and certainly has been very effective from that left side, hitting .450, 9 for 20, but he's just 1 for 9 right-handed. To right field, a little number. That's going to fall for a base hit. Middlebrooks around third. He'll score. Racing to third is Alonso, and it's a 5-4 game as Solarte comes through. A little 9-iron to right field, and the Padres are within one and have the tying run 90 feet away here in the 8th inning.
Everybody doing their part. Off the bench, lefty on the switch hitter, and as you mentioned, Dick, that's a great analogy right there. Nice little wedge shot. 9-iron over the head.
Middlebrooks saw that was going to clear, scores easily, and Alonso, hustling from first base, moves the tying run 90 feet away. And Alexi Amarista's the batter, hitting in the 9th spot with Will Myers due next. Infield's going to play back up the middle, in at the corners, and it's a safety squeeze. The throw to the plate, and out is Alonso. The 4th Padre to be thrown out of the bases tonight. He didn't get a very good jump at all. So Amarista, apparently a safety squeeze. A hesitation by Alonso.
Well, he goes on contact there, but I think it was just bunted too hard. And a great feed by Boone Logan. Nick Hundley gets it. The swipe tag. He tags him high. Kind of tough to tell where this might give us a good angle here. Oh, thanks. The umpire blocks us out there. But Nick Hundley definitely gets him in the chest. It's hard to tell where Alonso touches the bag. No argument.
So tonight there's been two runners thrown out at the plate, one at first and another at second. So Will Myers, who has a walk, a single, and an RBI double and a ground out, with a tying run at second base, Solarte and Amarista at first. Strike one. So 4 men thrown out of the bases plus 2 double plays. Alonso just not close. Going inside, 1-1 to Myers. 5-4. Padres get one here in the 8th, and it looked as if they were in great position with first and third and 1 out. Amarista's bunt just right at the pitcher. Anywhere away from him, left or right, and Alonso would have scored. Ooh, good stop by Hundley. Ball in the dirt at the feet of Myers. So 2-1. Action pitch coming up. Way outside, 3-1.
You know, we've been watching Drew Stubbs in center field for the Rockies all game. And just, where he's positioning himself batter to batter. Look at how deep he is now.
Yeah, so is the right fielder, Cargo. A lot of room between the infielders and outfielders here. They're playing a doubles defense.
I'm sure Will Myers would love getting jammed, break a bat, and loop one over Descalso's head at second base.
3 balls and a strike. Line drive, base hit to left. Here comes Solarte. Up with it is Blackman. Here's his throw to the plate. He scores, and it's tied at 5. Myers delivers again. 3 consecutive hits for Will Myers, and the Padres have climbed back from a 5-2 deficit. It's 5-all.
Whoever thought this Padre team was out of this one, shame on you. Shame with a capital S. 2 outs, fighting it off, down and away.
And you would point out the outfielders playing deep. And with 2 outs, Solarte running all the way to tie it up at 5.
It's almost as if this team dares the other team. in this short part of the season to get ahead of them late in the game. We dare you to take the lead. We'll put guys on. We'll come up with some big hits. We'll come up with some hits off the bat, end of the bat.
Myers digesting his second RBI of the night. He now has 10 on the season. Solarte delivering an RBI single off the bench and coming around to score. It's all knotted at 5, and Derek Norris, the hitter, with 2 on. Amarista at second base, and Myers at first. Norris tonight struck out, doubled to left and scored, safe on an error, and lined to center the last time. We told you, documented, he's had great success against lefties. Takes low and away. He was 1 for 3 against Matzik, the left-handed starter, so he's 10 for 17 this season against left-handed pitchers. Right man in the right spot.
He's got some serious, intense eyes right there, honing in on Boone Logan.
Takes a strike, 1-1. It's incredible. 4 men thrown out on the bases, 2 double plays, and they're back in it even at 5. Inside, 2-1. Matt Kemp next. How nice it must be to hit in front of Matt Kemp.
Oh, no question about it. Mentioned that in the pregame show.
Action pitch, 2 balls and a strike coming up. 3-1.
Oh, you can see where he wanted to go after that one out of the hand. Elevated up and away. Nice layoff right there by Derek Norris.
So Norris can be selective here, 3-1. Good speed aboard. Amarista from second to break the tie, and Myers at first. Line to right center field, and it's slicing away from Stubbs, and he can't get it. 1 run will score. Amarista. Here comes Myers to score. On a double by Norris, the Padres take a 7-5 lead. Oh my. He does indeed love to see a left-hander on the mound. 2 more RBIs for Norris. He has 7 on the season. 4-run 8th inning for the Padres.
Boy, he stayed inside that ball, down and in off Logan, and even with the speed of Stubbs out there in center field, he's not going to get it. 2 outs, everybody is running. When are we going to start calling this guy Chuck Norris?
Pair of doubles tonight for Norris, and with the great speed of Stubbs, as it was slicing, you wondered, got just the webbing, tip of the webbing on the ball, and that's it. So Norris doubles in 2 to break the tie at 7-5 Padres, and Matt Kemp is the 8th man to bat here in the 8th inning. He has an RBI single and a walk tonight, 1 for 3. Last year in August, they had 10+ hits in 4 consecutive games, or 2 years ago, 2013. Kemp takes 1-1.
Boy, the body language of Boone Logan says it all. The body language of the defense of the Rockies says it all.
But Bud Black, he'd mutter that familiar refrain, you never get too many, so Kemp would like to pick up Norris. Low and inside, 2-1.
That's a great at-bat, Derek Norris.
Pair of doubles for Norris tonight. Another 2-1 count. They give the left field corner to Kemp wide open if he pulls it. No, 3-1.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we showed the dancing friar out there, weren't they giving him the whammy?
Yeah, the voodoos.
Yeah, she was giving him the whammy before this inning. Some mojo going the Padres' way.
Strike 3-2. I think you could give the whammy and go for the slammy, but the 4 runs didn't come on a one swing, but it got 4.
Yeah, absolutely right.
She was thinking right.
Nothing wrong with that, yeah.
Yeah, there's the Friar. He's doing a little prayer, and then his partner, she was doing the voodoo stuff.
Yeah.
7-5 Padres. 3-2. Looper carrying pretty well, however, to center field to Stubbs. And the inning comes to an end, but what an 8th inning it was. The Padres 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Myers with a big base hit to tie it, and Norris the double to give the Padres a 7-5 lead. The Padres with a 4-run top of this 8th inning with a 7-5 lead. Will Myers with 3 consecutive hits has knocked in a couple in the midst of that rally, and the man behind the plate, Derek Norris, with a big 2-run double to break the 5-all tie. In comes Joaquin Benoit to work the 8th inning. He'll face the big guns for Colorado, Tulowitzki, Gonzalez, Morneau. And it's set up now for Benoit, who last pitched on Sunday. Craig Kimbrell given the Sunday game off, and Benoit picked up his first save of the season. He has 3 wins and a save in the first 14 games. Tulowitzki ground double, grounded to short, and a sacrifice fly tonight. Breaking ball for a strike. Actually, a fastball that ran like a breaking ball.
94, as you see the defensive alignment now. When Solarte pinch hit, he'll go and play second base, and Joaquin Benoit on the hill. He's your 8th inning guy. He's stopping when he's passing by.
Outside 1-1, Tulowitzki. Padres led 2-0. The Rockies tied it with 2 in the 4th. Took the 5-2 lead with 3 in the 5th. Padres 1 back in the 7th and 4 here in the 8th to lead at 7-5. All the way to the screen. 2-1. Seven runs, 11 hits for San Diego. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Rockies. All 5 against starter Brandon Morrow. He's now off the hit. Brandon Mauer now the pitcher of record.
Crooked number late. You got to love that, huh? We've seen a lot of that lately.
So 2-1 to Tulo. In there.
Good sweeping breaky ball from Joaquin. That's his third best pitch. We got the fastball mid-90s. Got the changeup.
Veteran LaTroy Hawkins loosening in the bullpen for the Rockies. Way out in front again. Deep drive into the empty seats down there in the corner.
I want to talk about a pitcher hitting his spot. Look at the glove of Derek Norris. It's inside, right? It's a changeup, but Troy Tulowitzki way out in front. My point is that he hit his spot, and that's a long strike.
Look at that trifecta.
Oh, love it.
I think they're on the same floor as we are at the Ritz-Carlton tonight. Watch out.
He's playing hurt, too. The Friar on the left there. He's got the bad wheel.
Yeah, came off the DL to root for the Padres tonight. Again, the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike three. A fastball at 96. Mows down Tulowitzki. One away.
How about that sequence of pitches? Remember the changeup I just mentioned? Out in front and in? How about this fastball at 96, and Troy Tulowitzki can't catch up to it. Once again, great location of that fastball. Not afraid to throw it inside the inside corner.
Brings up Carlos Gonzalez. Cargo, a couple of outs. Grounders to second one. An excellent play by Jerko. Self-defense, just plucked it off a wicked one hop. And he flied to left the last time, 0 for 3. And 1 for the last 17 for Cargo. Justin Morneau, talented hitter, won the National League batting crown last year at .319. He's on deck. This is the big inning for the Rockies, and tough challenge for Benoit. He's taking care of Tulowitzki and has a strike on Gonzalez. In the dirt. Quick look at the scoreboard. The Mets won again. They beat Atlanta 7-1. They've won 9 in a row. Giants have a 2-0 lead against the Dodgers in the 4th. Texas and Arizona tied at 1 in the 6th. Swing and a miss. Here's the changeup.
He's got a good one. He'll throw it any time. He's throwing it 3-2. Same arm speed as the fastball. The key has got to stay on top of it. See it dipping down and away.
That really has terrific movement, huh?
Sure does.
Comes back with a fastball high and away. 2-2. Cargo. Going back to the top half of that 8th inning, there are a lot of key hits, but maybe the most important at bat of all was Alonso being hit by a pitch 1-2. That really served the inning, sent it off.
No question about it. Took one for the team, Dick. No question.
Middlebrooks was at first, and Jerko had struck out, and 1-2 pitch hits him, and that really cultivated the 4-run inning. 2-2 again. Full count. Don't want to walk him. Tying run is on deck. So what do you throw here? 3-2.
See what Derek Norris throws down here with the count full and 1 out, nobody on. Remember, I told you he's throwing the changeup before. He's not afraid to throw that pitch.
Gonzalez taking him time before settling in the batter's box. Now we go.
Cambio. Ooh, he shook it off. Fastball in. Oh, slider.
Pops him up, shallow in center. Myers coming in. He's there. 2 away. Well, let's go back to our keys to the game, brought to you by your Honda dealers of San Diego County. How did we do tonight?
Well, I doubled up with the silver bullets. More silver bullets. 7 runs on 11 hits. That's 5 extra base hits for San Diego. Completely different lineup. Tyler Matzik threw the shutout last year. Complete game. The only one the Rockies had. Well, for the left-hander, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. He walked 6.
Able to escape with only 2 runs scored with those 6 walks. Here's Morneau. Ball 1.
So what kind of a mark do I get on that? I know you're a tough grader.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I mean, you just are rolling along. You know, now you're influencing the professor because you're doing so well. Then I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. That could be a B+, but I'm giving you an A-.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Into the shift. Look at Solardi take a hit away from Morneau. And that's it for the Rockies in the 8th inning. Solardi gets his first chance of the night and smothers that ball headed for right field. Yes, sir. That ball was beyond him. Oh, my. Go back to the 8th inning. It started with Middlebrook singles. Alonso hit by a pitch representing the tying run in the 5-3 game. Solardi with a flare to right. That makes it 5-4. Will Myers' 3rd consecutive hit ties it as Solardi streaks home and just does get in. 5-5. And Derek Norris a blast to right center just out of the reach of Stubbs to knock in 2 more. Complete a 4-run 8th and a 7-5 lead.
Oh, the Friar faithful here in Colorado having some fun.
He's in the pulpit out there.
Oh, love it.
In the 9th inning, LaTroy Hawkins, a 42-year-old graybeard, comes in. He's had a rough go so far in 2015. It's his last year of a long, distinguished career. Came in last night, and the Padres touched him up for a couple of runs in a 1/3 of an inning. Well, Justin Upton hasn't joined in on the fun tonight. He's one of the few Padres not to contribute. 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. (2-0). Upton, then Middlebrooks and Jerko. Myers with 3 hits, Norris and Middlebrooks with 2 to lead the way. Padres have also gotten some good help off the bench. Spangenberg pinch double and scored. Solarde a pinch single and scored. And drove in a run. Ooh. Just missed that one. Kemp with an RBI single. And Norris with a pair of doubles. Knocking in 2 and scoring 1. Way outside.
And I guarantee you what was said in the dugout as we take a look at Craig Kimbrell warming up in the bullpen for the Padres. In the dugout when that last inning was complete. It's time to add on, boys. Right?
Absolutely. Up the middle, and Upton does join the hit parade with a single to center. Dozen hits for the Padres tonight. They had 17 and scoring 14 runs last evening.
That's a good start to add on.
And Andrew Kashner is going to run for Upton as he singles sharply through the middle. And with that sore quad, Bud Black gets Upton out of there. Doesn't want him running the bases, and Kashner can't wait to gallop around. He loves this role as a pinch runner. Jerko has been on base twice with walks. He's flied out and struck out. Or Middlebrooks, rather. Middlebrooks leans into one and flies it high to Gonzalez to right field for the first out, and that'll bring up Jerko. But Jerko isn't going to hit. Will Venable steps up as a pinch hitter. As we remind you tonight on SD Live, the crew covers one of the most talked about topics in San Diego. Where will the Chargers finally land? Chargers special counsel Mark Fabiana stops by. He'll give us all the information from the Chargers' point of view. That's tonight. Stay tuned after Padres Live on Fox Sports San Diego for SD Live. So Joaquin Benoit was in Jerko's spot in the double switch. So Venable hits for the pitcher Benoit. Venable came off the bench and homered last night. One out. Upton at pinch hitter. Kashner there at first base. One and one. So he had a high fly ball that kept drifting toward the right field wall. Gonzalez went back, and off the top of the wall for Venable's second home run of the season, just out of the reach of Gonzalez. How many times have we seen him go up and take those back into the ball yard and deny? 1-1 the count. Whoa, Kashner leaning the wrong way, gets picked off. And Jose Valentin says, I don't think so. Kashner's going to stay there at first base. We'll see if Bud Black's going to challenge. Here he comes. He had Kashner leaning towards second base, but Andrew used all of that height to dive back. Did he get there in time? They're going to review it back in the East. See whether or not he might have actually beaten a quick move by LaTroy Hawkins. Take another look at it as Jim Joyce, the crew chief, goes over. I think he's back, don't you?
It's kind of tough. I think I was blocked. This might give us a good look here.
Morneau has the ball.
Oh, I got safe.
Yeah, he tagged him late.
Yeah.
Valentin right away pointed as if to say to Bud Black, this is a challenge. Kashner's athletic prowess may overcome a mistake. He was leaning towards second. And the call is reversed. Well, Kashner can breathe a little easier.
Yeah.
Joyce giving the safe call after the review. So Venable steps back in, 1 ball and 1 strike. Fans unhappy with the review, but the call has been made. Padres lead 7-5 here in the ninth. Going to be a little more cautious with that lead, Cashner.
Yeah, I think he just shortened up a little bit. By the way, if you're curious, that time of review took 46 seconds.
Well, that's okay if they can make the decision that quickly. It's those 2.5, 3-minute reviews that are annoying. Inside edge, 1-2. Venable didn't like that call. To left field, long run, and Blackman gets there, and Cashner all the way to second base has to sprint back to first. 2 away. Yonder Alonso, the hitter. Just a quick look, fans, at what the Padres have done at the top of the order. That is what has highlighted this road trip. Last night, the first 3 hitters in the order, Myers, Norris, Kemp, had 8 hits and 6 runs batted in. Tonight, they didn't cool down much. The first 3 have knocked in 5 runs with 6 hits. And you're getting that kind of production at the top of your order.
Yep.
Alonso lines that one to center field for a base hit. And Cashner stops at second. Bobbled by Stubbs momentarily. He gets it back in. So Alonso with his first hit in the game. So everyone but the 6th spot in the order, the Jerko Venable spot, and a couple of walks by Jerko contributing. Pinch runner Cashner stops at second, 2 on, 2 out. And Solarte came off the bench to pinch hit and dropped a single into right field. Knock in the 4th run in that 4-run 8th inning to make it 5-4. Later scored himself. And now hitting it on his better side. He singled right-handed, only his 2nd hit in 10 at-bats right-handed, but hitting a lusty 450 from the left side, 9 for 20. Sharply hit, but Tulowitzki there to close the hole. Oh, does he get the out anyway? Second baseman Descalso fell as he received the ball, but had maintained contact. Sharply hit, but for an out. And here comes Bud Black. He's not sure that they maintained contact. Now he walks back. He said, yeah, I think Cashner said, yeah, he got me. So Craig Kimbrell comes in a save situation, 3 outs away. Huntley will lead it off for the Rockies. Okay, that's a can't miss. We're going to just get what the implications are of that vote in Carson. As Hundley leads it off with a high fly ball to deep right field off Kimbrel, and it's off over the wall and bounces back into the field of play. So Nick Hundley, the former Padre, has tripled in a run, and now he homers his first of the season as he has punished the Padres. He had a couple of hits last night. So Hundley's home run makes it 7-6 as he greets Kimbrel.
Nick Hundley knows that he's going to get the fastball, and this one, first pitch, is right down the middle, maybe in a little bit.
Boy, a triple and a home run for Hundley tonight.
I stand corrected, 1-0, a 1-0 pitch, 1-0 fastball, taken the opposite way.
That'll bring up Corey Dickerson as a pinch hitter. Now they've called him back, and Rosario will be the batter, and we know about his power. He's been as damaging as any Rocky to the Padres with his long ball prowess. So suddenly this becomes a very tense ninth inning. 7-6 the score, and he comes out swinging. Strike one. 97 on the fastball. And Corey Dickerson then is in the on-deck circle.
We saw Will Venable pitch in the ninth. He is out in left field. Take a look at the numbers this season for Craig Kimbrel.
Four saves for Kimbrel. Close to the breaking ball. He's had a couple of days to rest after being used heavily all of last week and into the weekend. But Hundley with a shocking home run to right field. How few times did we ever see him hit a home run to right field as a Padre? His triple was to right field as well. Swing and a miss. Looking fastball, and they got a breaking ball.
Here's the home run pitch, the 1-0 pitch on contact, leaks down the middle of the plate, and Nick Hundley knows that Craig Kimbrel, he's going to throw upper 90s, right? Just get the barrel up front. Took it the opposite way.
One and two. And the fastball at 98. Corey Dickerson on deck. And then it would be Daniel Descalzo. Leadoff home run, Hundley. And now 2-2 to Rosario. Got it. Went to the breaking ball. One away. Dickerson not in the starting lineup. He was pulled out of the game last night early. He's been battling plantar fasciitis.
After that previous hack of the breaking ball to Rosario, Kimbrel goes back to it for the strikeout.
Dickerson hitting .286, has a couple of homers and 10 runs batted in.
And you know, Arenado can't hit, right? Because he's out with a bad wrist. So you can just scratch him off your scorecard. Unless some miracle thing has happened.
First pitch, fastball, ball one.
But not in the lineup last night. He got scratched late and not in the lineup tonight.
Adam Ottavino warming up for Colorado in case. 2-0 all the way to the screen. All's quiet in the Padre bullpen out in deep left center. So Dickerson going to be sitting on a fastball, you think? 2-0?
Gotta be.
And is late on the swing.
Yeah, I don't think Kimbrel's going to get cute with that breaking ball unless he's got 2 strikes on him. He's going to want to challenge him. He can locate the fastball. Saw the terrible swing by Rosario from the right side. He'll make left-handers look sick as well with that breaking ball. Boy, outfielders playing really deep.
Doubles defense.
Yep.
Ground ball to Alonso, knocks it down. Covering is Kimbrel.
Nice.
2 away.
How about Yonder Alonso acting like an NHL goalie? That's exactly what he had to do there. If he tries to play that one off to the side, could bounce off the glove, go anywhere, who knows. But you know what? He sacrificed himself right in the gut, wherever it was, right in the belt buckle chest. Nice cover right there by Craig Kimbrel. Nicely done.
That ball had a lot of topspin, and so Alonso reading that made sure it didn't get by him. And there's 2 away here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And the veteran Daniel Descalzo steps up. He's had only 13 at bats, a couple of hits. Swing and a miss. 98 on that heater.
Oh, that's 98 octane.
Yanoa, the 9th hitter on deck. Popped him up. Who wants it? Amarista. Oh my, 4 Padres surrounding that one. No one calling an Amarista. The shortstop goes out into shallow right field and makes the play. Alexi, where are you? Somebody call it. He says, okay, you big guys don't want it. I'll take it.
Oh, beautiful.
And the ball game is over. The Padres have come from behind again. They're now 9 for the last 11. They've won 10, dropped 5. The final score, San Diego 7 and Colorado 6. Mike Pomerantz. Five saves now.